This is Overtime, a live series brought to you by Lynx and War Room Media, where we talk about basically anything we want. And here are your hosts, Greg Williams and Ryan Ray. Back.
Let's go.
We're back.
Back. Finally.
Yeah, so that's been a while.
I'm blaming you. Can I blame you?
You blame me?
I was blaming you. It's your fault.
Okay. I'll take it. That's okay. I'll take it.
You're a big boy.
It's big shoulders. That's all right. I'm good.
Oh, it's my fault.
Well, it seems like we're both kind of ended up in the same place this go around. You getting inspected and me buying, so we were both on the outs. Even Irving was she was having trouble this week too. So yeah, I think all the way around we had the wriggling side of the game was not on this week. That's for sure.
Oh, man, yeah, and so
or last week,
or
last week for that.
Or last week, yeah. So. Yeah. Trying to, as you mentioned, trying to sell our house. And so for the next month or so, it's kind of when you go to sell your house, or even buy your house, but especially sell your house, you really lose control of your schedule. And as someone who does a lot of content, having control of my schedule is the most important thing that I do. Like I do record when I can't just always say, "Hey, Greg, record this time." And for people who don't know, the people who do this regularly. Like you can tell because they're like, hey, okay, like people call me up. Can you do something at 10? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like it has to be really important to move this stuff because you're cutting out time and stuff. And so it's hopefully the house process will be done by the mid-June. I'll be transitioned, and so I won't have this kind of topsy-turvy schedule. But until then, unfortunately, we are at the whims of home buying and selling process. So
that's why I was kind of surprised whenever you were good to go for today's show. I was thinking, okay, so Ryan's going to be booked here. We'd have to delay until another Thursday. So you were not on this time, man.
Oh man, I told him. So last Thursday was the inspection, which you really can't control. Like no. I mean, and so I was hoping we get the show in later that afternoon, but I was telling you I couldn't get back to my house till 2:00. So you already had something else to go do. How dare you not wait 4 hours on me, 5 hours on me?
Yeah, a little drive to Louisiana.
Yeah, and so
to the home state.
Right, and so you sit there and you go, oh, man, how do you work around all this stuff? And unfortunately, there is no easy method. So you just kind of do what you do and work through it. So apologize to everyone, and hopefully, I know I got vacation coming up in middle of June, but other than that, hopefully that is because I schedule almost everything I do around my shows. And so hopefully this other than vacation will be the last time we had to miss for barring some kind of crazy thing for a while on my end. Now, if Greg screws it up, that's on Greg.
Hey, I'll take it. Like I said before, I'll take it. All right. Let's get the rundown up here.
Let's get it, man.
All right. So we'll have a little chat about the prices like we always do. We'll talk about some international market recovery, that pipeline hack. Naga 7 punched through. NFL does not pay short-term disability. Kyrie Irving doesn't talk to Ponds. So UFC 262, BKFC 17 and 18, and get paid to take naps, Ryan.
Okay, I saw this in the rundown.
So
getting paid to take naps. Like I think we don't want to bury the lead. We should start there.
Just reverse it and head back the other way.
Well, just one story.
Everybody will be asleep by the time we get to the oil prices and the market information. So, all right. So, for anyone out there that don't know, this show here is sponsored by Lit Handlers. They are a small family-owned merchandise company based in Texas. So, everyone get in there and download the application and visit Lit Handlers to get your 15% off today. Once you download the app, then you can visit the website, www.lithandlers.com, and use the discount code that is sent by mail with your email verification once you register with us. So, Ryan, they will be appearing on Shark Tank May the 21st. I think it's 7 p.m. on ABC.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, they're heading big time there, man. So maybe they can land them a deal in the Shark Tank.
We need to hit them up for some more sponsorship dollars before they go on the Shark Tank then.
Yeah, so it looks like it's 8 to 9, so that'd be Eastern on ABC. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, good. Hope it works out for them.
Me too. They are good people. Good hometown people. All right. On our prices. Looks like the WTI 64.68 and come on. Quick. No clickaroo there. Go back to the top of the web. Anyway, 64.67 on the WTI and 68.11 on the Brent. Yeah, so been an interesting week. I guess it would be the end of last week. We had the Colonial Pipeline system shut down for a ransomware hack. So Ryan, although the prices at the pump were sitting at $2.96 compared to $2.90 a week earlier, an increase of 3 more cents they're saying would make the national average the most expensive since 2014. Hard for me to kind of put that in perspective. We've known each other a while now, and you know that I'm probably not the conspiracy theory guy. So, but this the timing seems to be a bit off for me. I mean, I'm not sure here. So basically, we kind of get rid of the pandemic for the most part, but things start moving kind of around again. Then, bam, the largest supplier to the southeastern and northeastern states shut down. So, Ryan, what's your thoughts here?
I haven't thought about that angle. That's interesting. My thoughts are, yesterday there was a report out that they were saying a dark side said that they didn't mean to cause the problems they had caused and didn't realize the impact.
Ooh, the dark side.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so the CIA or the Russians, have sent them pictures of their wife and children, with like a picture of like the bullseye on it or something.
Oh yeah.
Like the warning is, we're about to come murder you if you don't stop doing what you're doing. Because it's, what did you expect to happen? So my theory is more that the last I heard, I hadn't looked this morning about the location, that they were located in Russia. Not that they're tied to the government, but they're located in Russia. I suspect Putin offs these cats. That's my guess. I do.
We used to know who they were, but they are no longer with us.
I mean, no, but let's think about it for a second. If Joe Biden, this isn't a political take on Biden or anybody, I'm just saying the U.S. president, whomever that might be at this moment in time, which is Joe Biden now, if they wanted to say this was an act of terrorism against our national security, it would be hard pressed to argue that shutting down 45% of the gasoline, the diesel and gasoline to the East Coast is not just that, right? It'd be
no, that's right. You're right.
I'm not saying I agree with that or disagree with that. I'm just saying it's an easy argument to make. So then you say those guys are in your country, so we're going to come bomb them. Now Russia can't let us drop a bomb in Russia. Again, that's the last I heard. That in Russia, I'm not sure that's confirmed, but last I heard, Russia can't let us drone strike in Russia. That won't happen. So Russia has a couple options. They can protect them. They can off them, or they can kind of raise the bounty, if you will. I suspect that Russia, they may want to saber rattle for a while, but ultimately these guys get yeah, and not publicly, probably just quietly, and their CIA guy or their KGB, our CIA go whack them, and we shake hands and go about our business. Because if you're Putin, you have to understand the implications here. I'm not saying it's a right. I'm not saying we should have the right. I'm not saying either. I'm just saying that this is what, if Biden wouldn't make this case, it is really hard to argue this was not an act of terrorism on our country.
Yeah, I think.
And I'm a general.
I think I'm going a little far here by saying it was an accident, but I mean, how do you just you don't accidentally do ransomware?
No, well, right. That's what I'm saying. The fact that they started backpedaling, like, well, we didn't mean for it to be this bad. It's like, what? I've never heard a hacker be like, oh, I did too good. I really hacked that machine.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can only give me $1 million and not 10 million. We'll call it a day. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I legitimately suspect that someone.
You don't accidentally put ransomware.
Right. So I suspect that some government official somewhere made it very clear to these guys that bad things will happen if they don't get their act together. And so, But the pipeline's back in Colonial's hands, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's working its way up. It's doesn't have. I don't think they have full 100% operation, but they're saying by the end of this week.
You're right. Right.
Yeah.
And so you see gas prices, gasoline prices, and your diesel prices are going to go up pretty high.
I mean, 2014. I mean, that was a few years back. That was before the last large drop. So 2016. So 14, we were still in the good years, man, and it was high. So, I mean, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference if it goes back to that level, if you ask me. I remember it higher than that, and I remember it way lower than that when we first. I mean, anyway, okay, a little bit about international market recovery. I know, Ryan, we talk more domestically, or you talk more domestically, and I talk more internationally. So I'll just cover the international part. Domestically is kind of still the same thing as it was a couple of weeks ago. Not much has changed, but internationally, we, as an industry worldwide, we always want to talk about recovery. So it seems like that's all we talk about is recovery. It's not. I'm not sure when we'll actually be recovered. Maybe we are recovered, and this is the new recover, and we don't want to accept that we've recovered. So, I mean, maybe we're not at that plateau where we think we should be, and maybe we'll never get there. But sooner or later, we're going to have to consider something recovered.
Mm-hmm.
And when is that going to be? I don't know.
Great point. That's a great
point. But since we've been off since the 22nd of April, Schlumberger signaled some international recovery. Now, the big boys, even though they do from time to time do things like sell off a whole bunch of assets and make good money on the first quarter of 2021, like I get it. But I do listen to them whenever they do speak because they're, they leverage the market in all kind of different directions, and they have services in every part of the world. So, but Schlumberger signaled some international recovery as well as some others, but they reported a revenue $5.2 billion for the quarter, with North America accounting for roughly 19% of that. So, not a whole lot for North America. So again, that puts you more in the international stage. But they are saying that the North America side of the operations will level off while international activity is set to ramp up through year end. But just as a note to add to this, we had a slew of international contracts signed over the last couple of weeks. Just going through the risk, because that is risky going through the risk. West Saturn, 4 more years offshore Brazil, Deepwater Asgard. This one is in the Gulf of Mexico, but for Beacon. Addis, which is a contractor in the Middle East, renewed contracts on their rigs in Saudi Arabia. Oceaneering, which is they supply ROV units and subsea work for trees, umbilicals, but they landed multiple contracts. Valaris put another rig back to work offshore New Zealand for a year plus. Baker Hughes was awarded revitalization work offshore Brazil, multi-million-dollar contract. Shelf Drilling signed on for another 3 years for the Trident 12. And bidding rounds have opened up onshore in Angola. So yeah, Ryan, there's a bunch of stuff happening, internationally, and even the last couple of days, there's been 4 or 5 more international gigs pop up on the list. So yeah, it's picking up elsewhere for sure.
Yeah, no, I think go back to something you said at the beginning. There is a really great point. Is when will it come back? Well, if you look at the U.S. rig count and you look at the production, what you'll see is the rig count has gone down and the production has gone up, right? So on some level, it's been back well above from a production standpoint. It's been, it gets back pretty quick. The rig standpoint doesn't always come back, which means the job standpoint doesn't come back the same, right? And that's what makes it tough to follow. So when we went to the last downturn, we saw the companies were adjusting their lateral length, they were deploying new technology, they're trying to get as few humans out there as possible and replace that with as much machinery or longer laterals, whatever it might be, technology to replace them. So going through this last downturn, which was a downturn last year, how does that work as far as from the U.S. domestic side? When the rig count starts to creep back up, where does it plateau? And oh, by the way, do we even have enough good acreage to get back to pre-production levels of 2019? So there's a lot of questions here in the U.S., but I think that you hit the nail on the head is we shouldn't necessarily go back to 2019 for all spots of the world and say, well, this is what it was. This is what we're trying to get back to. It might not. It could be more. It could be less. But when you go through these traumatic events that we went through last year, it just changes stuff, right? And stuff changes. And so we had to wait to see what getting back to looks like. So I thought that was a great point by you.
A big, huge ripple is what it was. It's like a big rock somebody threw in there, and
it's still going.
Big oil and gas. Yeah, it is. It is. It is, and it's wild. And I think the reductions of I think we talked about that 2 shows, maybe 3 ago, was the reduction of humans in the workforce, and as long as day rates and costs are where they are right now, and you have to look at some of these drillers and some of these operators. I mean, they're going to want to squeeze every single dollar that they can that they've lost over the last 2 to 3 years or even 4 years. I just don't see going out and buying a whole bunch of expensive equipment whenever they've already proved that they can cut their margins drastically by keeping the the talent around and then cutting whenever they need to. So I don't know. It's a large question out there. I mean, maybe you'll look at it from maybe a 10-year perspective, asset evaluation, to say, look, we've manned up and manned down multiple times over the last 5 or 6 years because of one issue or another, and we've spent X amount of dollars doing this each time, manning up and manning down. So why don't we put that into some kind of equipment based thing? So I don't know. But again, Ryan, I think that was a good point as well.
Well, yeah, and just one more thing before we move on. We said again. The best thing for the industry, where prices are at right now, which is what, 65, right? If they would just stay there for 5 years straight, that would be the best thing for our industry.
It would.
I agree. Hard to emphasize that, because what you'd have is companies who were so bloated that they cannot make it at 65 oil. And you're like, how's that happen? It doesn't matter. It's going to happen. And then you'd have companies who have ran really lean, and $65 oil for them. They're killing it, right? And then you have everywhere in between. But what would happen is that those you would kind of the fat end, they'd get cut off. And the lean end, who is making money, they're going to start absorbing some of this stuff, and they're going to grow.
Until they turn into the other fat.
Until they turn into the other. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
It's just somewhere in between. You think that they would catch that. They would catch the wind coming there and just be like, "Hey guys, it might be a good idea here." You guys remember like 4 or 5 years ago when this happened, maybe 6,
That's right. But
they don't.
The other thing is that you talked about this a minute ago, service companies, they don't know what their rate should be. We don't know what can you pay your laborers. What are how are you going to make money?
You pay them whatever you need to pay them to keep them from quitting most of the time.
Right. Well, okay. So
yeah, I mean, in this industry right now, if you are working for a drilling contractor, I can only speak from the drilling contractor side. I can't speak from the service operation side, because it seems to be a lot more fluid. Well, it used to be a lot more fluid with the service side, and now it's the same way with the contracting side. But for 2012, 11, 12, maybe even 13, there was a huge competition for talent out there. And it was whoever was paying the most that had the most benefits, that had the most options, had the best, you could go in and get the best stock. I mean, it was just whatever percentages on your 401k. I mean, it was just whatever they matched. I mean, everything seemed like a competition out there. It was basically bonus stacked on bonus stacked on bonus, offshore bonuses, regional bonuses. I mean, it was everything that you could imagine that you could stick into a couple of sheets of paper for an offer was there. And all of these companies were competing for people. And you can now, when you get an offer letter now, it's 8 pages and 7 of those are terms and conditions. And none of it is about those other 7 pages are not about pay, because the first one covers your day rate right off the bat. And the other 7, they talk about terms and conditions of what they can do inside that, your basically your agreement to work for them, what they have the right to do.
Right. And so what happens is, is great though, right? So in the first part of your analogy, the story was what you're not saying is that the prices are so high that they're like, whatever it takes to get a man or a woman out here, we're gonna do. And their clients like, whatever you gotta do to get someone out here, you do it. And
Yeah, you're right.
We're gonna
That's exactly right.
The second part of your story is the other end of the spectrum, which is we're barely making $1. So if you come out here and you touch the wrong thing, you blink the wrong way, we have reason to fire you on the spot. And yes, so don't even think about filing a lawsuit. Matter of fact, you're fired before you sign this paper. Okay. What I would submit to you is that we want to be in the middle of that.
I agree.
Right. So you don't want to get paid. You don't want it's good to get the money, but it skews everything, right? So it's for the worker. You're like, yeah, man, I'm making a killing. The problem is the snapback so hard the other way. It's like, oh, so in the middle you have occasional bonuses, right? Because one client gets a big job, like, okay, hey, we need to get a few guys out here, so they can kind of
a
little bit extra. But it's not everyone's get crazy bonuses. And by the way, there's a few more qualifications on employment, but it's not crazy. In the middle, that's where we need to be. So.
No, that's right. I remember
for the rest of our life. Either one.
It was like I was talking to a guy I've known for quite a few years on Facebook last night, and I was like, it's like they've hit the reset button back to the late 90s, because everyone that I'm talking to that's still working, or that is I say working. Well, I use working as a loose term because we still have some places in the world where travel is still not working out correctly, so we're waiting for some of the restrictions to be lifted. But these are guys that were working whenever I was working started in the late 90s. Those are still the same guys that are working.
Right.
Like the guys that were in the middle, when I went to work until now, are seem like the ones that got hit the hardest. Like it was everybody from whenever I started kind of lucked out. The ones that hadn't retired yet, they're still around. But like, again, it's just like, boom, big reset button. So
I bet part of that reason is if I had to guess that, the people been around, 20, 30 years, they know how to do 4 or 5 jobs. They can train people. And so as you reduce staff, you bring in the technology.
Oh, that's right.
Someone's got to talk to the technology guy. Well, this guy's been here 20 years. He knows that. You know, technology, but he can tell you what this robot's supposed to do or whatever. We lost 4 hands. Well, we got to train more guys, or we need, to do more for less. Well, this guy can do it. And so that's the value of being, baseball, they call it the 5-tool player. As an employee, that's the value of being the 5-tool player. Now, sometimes it just takes time. What you're saying is it just takes time. Like, you just can't get there overnight. And that's
I mean, most of the, you typically don't want to run off your right-hand man. So from a manager, down to the rig, that guy that's been your right-hand man out there, you typically don't want to run him off. And he's not your 5-10 year guy. He's typically your 15-20 year guy. So
right. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. It was a good chat, man. That's something we don't typically talk about, but it did, good it came up. So this happened late last week as the 4th. But Ryan, it's something you don't see often. In fact, in my 26 years, I've never been part of one of these, and don't want to be part of one. But the Naga 7 was offshore Malaysia and had what is called a punch through. So this is when the legs of the rig pushed through the sea floor, creating a very serious situation. Other than an underground blowout, this is probably just behind it. So,
real quick. So
go ahead,
because I don't do the offshore thing. So So the reason that the blowout is worse is because there's immediate fire hazard, I'm guessing.
Well, it creates a cavern. And so while the rig legs are sitting on the seafloor and you have an underground blowout, when you have an underground blowout, it removes the seabed from below the rig. So basically the rig just sinks.
Oh, so the underground blowout.
Cavern. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. So it's on the seabed and it's
I got you. I'm following you. So the same result here is on both ends. One's just faster than the other.
I actually think they're probably both about the same. It depends on the severity of the underground blowout,
I
but
got
yeah.
you. I got
But all 101 personnel were safely evacuated, and salvage operations, I think, are still underway. Uh,
Wow.
the rig was completely underwater as of, I guess it was Saturday morning or whatever, or maybe
Well,
even, yeah. Anyway,
tell me this, Greg. How do they go about trying to determine where these potential soft spots might be? So is there, or is it
well,
just
they go in and they take soil samples. So
uh-huh.
they look at the consistency of the soil that they take. They go in. They do basically do the same thing we do. When you go in and do like jetting and different
Mhm,
things, they
mhm.
go in and take core samples. So
Okay,
they look at these core samples. They say, okay, well, this is not a good place to put the rig, or this is a good place to put the rig, or blah blah
alright,
blah. But
okay.
anyway, there's a whole methodology behind it, and this rig had already been through all of that. It was working for ConocoPhillips and was just getting set up on location, and they were going through what was called preloading, which is basically getting the rig ready and finalized, set up on location. But
Mhm,
yeah, they got to go in and get core samples and soil samples and check everything out. So,
mhm.
but yeah, I'm glad no one was injured. Everyone got off safely. But
Yeah,
again,
that's scary.
it's one of these things you don't see very often. But it's just a reminder that even I think this rig was 2014, maybe 2015. It wasn't that old. So it's just a reminder that even new gear, you can go out there and have. It wasn't the rig's problem that it had this, but it was the seabed, obviously. But
Can you imagine real quick being the insurance guy, pick up the phone like, "Hello," like, "Hey, yeah, the rig
it's
sank."
also, yeah, it's not a good day.
Wait,
It's
what? What? The rig
just
sank.
a reminder out there for everybody that is working on or that in these on some of these jackups and some of these rigs out there. It's important that any space that is needs to remain watertight, the door stays closed. So for this particular vessel, the Naga 7, if I feel like that if some of the watertight integrity was maintained, they probably wouldn't have had some of what they had. Now, this is just my take on it. We've seen, a lot of different things happen with watertight integrity, and I think here is probably one of those. I mean, because when you jack the legs all the way up, the vessel floating supports the legs.
Real, real,
So
real quick, make sure I'm following here. What you're saying is that if they would have sealed the doors and hatches, it might not have sank as fast or at all. It could have
that's
still collapsed, but it would have floated on the.
on the body,
Okay,
on the hull.
I got you.
So that's what I'm saying. So if it had remained, had I said remained, if it had held some of the watertight integrity, then maybe it would have just gotten down to a point where it would have, floated on the hull and hadn't have sank. So that's kind of my take on it. I think they started taking on water because there was something open, but I guess they'll make some kind of report out and let
That
everybody know.
insurance guy I was referencing,
Yeah.
he's gonna be sure before he cuts a check, be sure that all that was done.
Yeah, there's some if you go do a little search for it on the internet, there's a couple of videos out there, and I mean it was a long I say it was a long drawn out process, but I mean the length of time that the incident was happening allowed for all of the people to safely disembark the vessel, which
That's
was good.
good.
So
That's very good. Can't overlook that.
all right, moving on over here to sports. Well, this one obviously was no surprise to me, but this one was out just a little bit last week. So some of these things are obviously from we were going to talk about Thursday, Ryan. So we'll just run
Mhm.
back through them real quick. But the NFL doesn't pay short-term disability. Ryan, the NFL issued a memo on the 5th reminding players that they are not obliged to pay players who suffer an injury away from the team facility. Team facility. So seems some players were not aware of this rule. This came on the heels of Denver's offensive lineman Jawan James, who tore his Achilles last week while working out on his own and could miss the 2021 season. So, yep, I get it. I mean, yeah, they make millions of dollars, but tearing an Achilles. Okay, so I'm sorry, Mr. Achilles. We're gonna wait. Hold on. We're gonna wait until we were at the facility before I can have any issues.
Okay,
So
repeat that again to me. I'm not sure I followed all that. Say that one.
okay, so Denver offensive lineman
Right.
Juwan James
Right.
tore his Achilles last week while working out on his own.
Oh.
And the memo was issued after this happened with Mr. James. And so his Achilles was torn off site.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Hold on. Okay. So these contracts usually have a list of prohibited activities, and so it's quite possible he was violating his contract.
It could have been. It could have been, but there is the text. The text that is in ESPN's article doesn't put it into any light of what may have been or what may have not been. But again, if you tear an Achilles, you can get out of your bed and stand up next to your bed and tear your Achilles.
Yeah,
it's no you don't have to be working out. I mean, you can be reaching over and putting your tennis shoes on, man, and stumble forward a little bit and pop it. So again, it's the Achilles is not something you can just put a timer on and say we're going to slip on over here and we're going to wait to go out till you get at the facility.
Right. And so I'm not saying what did or didn't happen. I have no idea. I just know that these NFL contracts have clauses like you can't play basketball potentially because you could pull your Achilles or your knee out, right? So it might have something like that, or you can't go jump out of an airplane, right? Or you can't go, there's
not. But this is but what I'm saying is it's only clean cut to a point where whether the NFL is going to pay or not pay.
Mm-hmm.
It only comes to the money. That's it. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, like, if the guy's getting out of bed in the morning and snatches his Achilles off, NFL is still going to pay him. But it's not at their facility.
Well, okay, that's what so we agree. The question is, what I'm asking is what happened? Did he violate his contract and he's not getting paid because of that? Or is it what you're suggesting is potentially he got up and just some freak accident happened and they're not paying? And so if it's the first one, if it's a freak accident, then it's like, that's pretty brutal. If it's a violation of contract, well, then it's more understandable. I just don't, this article doesn't say, I don't know.
No, it doesn't. It only says that this week while working out on his own.
And that might be, but see, that might be a violation of the contract, working out on your own.
That's brutal.
I'm not saying, well, you got to think like this, though. From the NFL team standpoint, you're like, okay, listen, Greg, we want you to work out, but we got the best guys in the world here. We don't want you going off site and hurting yourself. So I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not taking a side. Other than what I've often found in these stories is people get outraged, and usually it's a violation of the contract that gets these guys.
Well, what it does say here is more than $10 million would have been guaranteed if the injury had occurred at the Broncos facility.
Right.
They do say that.
Yeah.
So, but that's at the Broncos facility. So, I don't know. Maybe stepping on the brake pedal right before he pulled in the facility and it had a rip. I mean, I don't know. I just see so much there for the lawyers to just jump into, man.
Well, it's collectively bargained. There's nothing to argue.
Collectively bargained.
Yeah, they're union.
Oh yeah.
And so there's nothing to argue. And so that's
right. That's right.
That's the other thing about all this is that, just going a side rant here, people get mad at the UFC because their fighters don't have a collective bargaining. And then yet something like this comes in and like, oh, wow, how dare they treat the players like this? Like, they got a union? Like, who are you mad at? You mad at the union? I thought the union was great.
Yeah.
What happened here? So anyways, it's just.
You only need a lawyer for certain things like, women trouble. All right. Let's see here. Another one that was happening that around that same time frame was Brooklyn Nets Kyrie Irving gets $35,000 fined for violating NBA's media access rules. So, point guard for the Nets was fined $35,000 here. So the NBA requires all healthy players be made available upon request to reports before or after every game. Irving has declined several occasions. He added to Instagram, I do not talk to pawns. My attention is worth more. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's 35,000, and it sounds like he was okay with just divvying up 35 grand and being on with his business.
My man.
Not even a drop in the bucket. He just rolled right out.
He needs to sponsor this podcast.
He didn't. I
Oh.
mean, he just, my attention is worth more. I'm out. So he sounds like he won't be speaking to the media, Ryan, at all. So,
well, 35K if he wants to waste it on not speaking,
he's just like, he's sitting back there thinking, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many games I got?
Yeah, right.
45, 55. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just move everything over to one account. Y'all just go ahead and take it for each fine. Yeah, that's wild.
Okay, so real quick.
He does need to sponsor this podcast, though. 35,000? Yeah.
Yes. Let's go back to the last story for half a second. I found something for you, Greg.
Sure.
Okay. This is from a Kansas City Chiefs offensive lineman, Michael Schwartz. He says that the Players Association, that's the group that represents the players,
right,
is getting a lot of players to exercise the voluntary part of this process and stay at home. A major downhill is it shifts 100% of the injury liability to the player, not the team, and this would happen. And he goes on to say, of course, I feel sorry for him. What I want is for him to still make his money, which is what would have happened if he'd worked out of the team facility like any other year. But the Players Association, his union, got him to stay at home, and now he's not entitled to anything. And he goes on to say, I wish I knew why they encouraged it. I guess when you're a free agent, you get taken off the NFLPA and da-da-da-da. So,
wow.
So according to him, he's saying that the own union has encouraged you to stay at home, but that puts you in jeopardy of losing your contract because you got injured at home. That's like the worst representation ever. So sue the union.
You just don't work out at all, bro.
No doubt.
You just, are you going to work out today? No. Are you going to work out today? Only at the facility. Is the facility open? No. Yeah. Well, I won't be working out today.
That's right.
I mean, that's just, I mean, is the rig on location? Is the rig working? Are the crews there? No. Well, then you going to crew change? No. I mean, that's same thing. Yeah.
That's right.
You are not needed. That's it. I mean, there's no sense in putting yourself under additional stress. That's kind of like, one of my pet peeves in the industry is like over testing equipment.
Mm-hmm.
It just burns my ass up. I mean, you go out there and you spend millions and millions and millions of dollars and billions of dollars on equipment, and then you spend the next 5-10 years just testing the crap out of it. Right. And I mean, and when I say over test, it leaves the factory with a over test rating to be able to get down to a safe working rating. So, and you go out into the field and people misinterpret some of these API considerations and some of the other things that are out there, even in the EU, where some of these pressure testings, I know it's 1.25, some of it's 1.4, some 1.5 times or close to it. And I mean, you just overtest and overtest and overtest. Well, people say, oh, well, you don't test to make things all right. You test to fail. No, you don't. You don't test to just tear your equipment up. That's silly. You test to make sure that it's going to, be safe to be able to use. You don't test it to tear it up. So, but yeah, this is one of these things here where you won't be working out anywhere except for the facility. So just don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't make sense.
Doesn't make sense at all.
None. Done. All right. We're going to move over here where things do make sense. We're going to be in here with the UFC. So that's UFC 262.
Are you going? It's in Houston,
I am, man. I am going. I am going.
You didn't invite me.
Man, I am going. This is how this went down. I don't
care how it went down. You should have called me. Oh.
Ryan, you knew no. Okay, so I didn't purchase these.
I don't care.
Just so you know, Ryan.
If a sponsor is taking you to this fight, me and you will be headlining the next event. I'm just telling you.
This was Oh, well, this wasn't a sponsor. This was a friend from many, many years ago. Came through with these.
I don't have friends like that.
Well,
That's not good.
well, you do now. You do have one now. So you have a good friend now. So if anything swings through, you'll always be at the top of the list. But listen, hey, it's not too shabby. It's I think after Chandler went on a show there with Dan Hooker, I think he's probably my pick here.
Oh, you going with Chandler, huh?
I'm gonna go with Chandler, man.
Wow.
He's pumped up. It'd be hard for me to believe that if he struggles, it's going to be the entire match. I think the boy's got a lot of energy, and I think he's coming for it. So,
I think I'm gonna go with Oliveira. But let me see what the betting odds are. Let's see what they are here real quick. So yeah, Oliveira is a -130 dog, but Chandler's +110, so it's pretty close. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Really close, then.
Yeah, it's really close. Oliveira, when's the last time he lost a fight?
I don't know, but I can tell you when the last time that Chandler did a backflip off the top of the octagon.
So. Okay, touche. So Charles Oliveira, he's 30-8. Let's see here. Let's just look at his last fights, okay? Because he beat Tony Ferguson, beat Kevin Lee, beat Jared Gordon, Nick Lenz, David Tamer, Jim Miller. So Sequoia Gita is the one that got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's on an 8-fight win streak. I'm going with Oliveira. I'm gonna go opposite of you. You got Chandler. I've got Oliveira.
Let's do it.
And it doesn't really matter. You're going to be there, so you win. You get to win. You're the winner here, not me.
It was a straight fluke that I'm ending up going. So
yeah, okay. I've never asked that question again. I was just being silly, like, "Oh, you going?" No, I didn't expect you to be like, "Yeah." God, that hurt right there, man.
Well, sorry, but I will keep you updated.
I'm sure you will. I'll be watching pay-per-view.
I'll send you a few photos.
I'll be paying the $69.99 to watch pay-per-view. No need to text me. I'm good.
Oh, you're gonna watch it on pay-per-view?
I always get them. I
can put it on live from Facebook, maybe from my phone or something. I mean, and just put it on, or maybe just send it.
I do
have FaceTime you directly from the suite.
Okay, you could the suite. Suite? What? What are we talking about? Suite? You said what a suite? I thought like your buddy got you a ticket at the nosebleeds, and you're like, "Let's go." Sweet.
My buddy did give me a ticket
in a suite.
Yeah, I think there was a couple extra tickets.
No, man, I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm good. A suite. You're going to watch the UFC in a suite. The second event.
You know how long it's been since I've been to an event? Probably like the rest of the world. I mean, so I still have to wear a mask in there, man. So
in the suite or where?
In the Toyota Center.
Not for the fights, huh? Not for the whole time.
And they sent out a 2-page email with all the safety restrictions on it.
I bet you they don't enforce it.
Well, as long as you keep a beer to your face, so there's no way you can anyway.
Who's going to a swing? Let's get the show over. This is getting worse by the second. Next thing, you're like, well, don't. If this is true, do not respond. Just don't even say anything.
Do not respond.
Backstage passes. We go see Dana after the fight. We're gonna go get his autograph and a picture signing. If that's true, don't say anything. I won't talk to you ever again.
No. There's gonna be. Yeah, I'm not going back there. So.
Well, I'm excited. I am.
They're coming up there. So.
So bad. Oh.
I figured you'd enjoy that a little bit.
Oh, wow.
But we will move off the UFC and move over to BKFC, the Bare Knuckled Fighting Championship. So, Ryan, when we chatted last show, BKFC 17 was April the 30th. Our picks, if I remember well enough, were Frank Tate and Marcel Stamps, and the rest of the card.
No. We had.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no. So we had Stamps. He lost, but the
Stamps got beat.
Didn't fight. Scroll up. See this guy on the left here. Scroll up the top of. Look at the poster. Let's go up to the poster. See the guy with the beard? He didn't fight. That's who I had. He got hurt. So the Frank Tank guy stepped in to replace him. Late notice.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Click
that's
whatever his name
right.
was. He didn't fight.
Anyway, we didn't go for Josh Burns.
No.
We went for
We had the guy
the opposition. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that didn't fight. So technically that's a W, right? Because we had the guy that would have fought and probably beat him too. So same thing.
Well, again, that's 1 for 2, so 50% again. So, yeah, we seem to always end up in the middle.
Well, listen, if you're doing 50% betting, like you're still losing money, but at least it's fun. Because usually,
if you can get any W out of it, it's fun. Yeah.
Right.
So that brings us up to BKFC 18, which will be held June the 4th in Miami. And that is going to be Joey Beltran, Sam Shoemaker headlining that event. So who are our picks here?
Man, I don't know. Beltran's good.
So mine's going to be Beltran. For the next fight, Hector Lombard and Joe Riggs. I've looked these up before we got ready to do the show, and I think I'm going to go with Lombard here. Palomino and Diaz. Those are going to be my picks. So Beltran, Lombard, Palomino, and Diaz.
So I'm gonna go Beltran, Lombard, and then I'm gonna flop on the bottom two. No. Yeah. So I want Beltran, Lombard, Google, I can't say his name, Google whatever, and then I want Thiago Alves. Thiago Alves is a beast, or used to be at least. So
okay, so you went opposite of me. Okay.
Yeah, so the top two are the same, the bottom two are the opposite.
Okay.
So somehow, some way, we'll still go 50%.
There'll be a W in there somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're guaranteeing a W somehow, unless there's a bunch of draws.
Just a reminder for anybody that's just joining us, or for anyone that's hung out and listened to our show here, which has been a good run here for us. It's been a while since we've done one this long. So we are sponsored by Lit Handlers. They are a small family-owned merchandise company based in Texas. So everyone get in there, download the Wriglings application, and visit Lit Handlers to get your 15% off today. Right. Not you don't get UFC tickets, but you do get 15% off their merchandise. So once you download the app, then you can visit www.lithandlers.com and use the discount code that is sent by email with your email verification once you are registered with us. Ryan, do you want to get paid to take naps?
Yes, I do.
Now, so what about getting paid to take naps? Sounds good. The company announced it is seeking nap reviewers to get paid $1,500 to take daily naps for 30 days and document the experience. So just having a notebook there, Ryan, just taking a little snooze, and you wake up and you document. So the company is a sleep health company. And they want to do reviews on mattresses. So, would you be down for getting paid to take a nap?
Yes, I would. Especially the one I take at about midnight till 7 a.m. every morning.
That's it. So, if it's a junk mattress, like, what's your thoughts on like having like super duper mattresses? Do you have like a crap mattress that's like $150 from the?
I think we got like a $400 or $500 mattress. It's not a top of the line. It's kind of a mid grade,
So that's probably, other than obviously when I bought the house, but probably the most expensive thing in the house was the bed. So the mattresses. So having a decent mattress makes all the difference. If you've never had a good mattress, then you can't have. There's no argument there, because you don't know what you're missing.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of like when whenever you're have a certain type of vehicle and you move over to a different vehicle, well, you never would have known because you wouldn't have swapped over there until you tried it. So, right. But anyway, if you've ever gotten, went to any of these high end, and Ryan, you've done some traveling quite a bit, but if you go into any of these high end hotels, these beds, they don't play. They are, like the ones in your Hiltons and some different places like this. They put a lot of money in there, and then they rotate these things out every year. So, I mean, so if you go to one of these places, just take a couple of photos of the bed tags and look around and get you some prices. And I mean, go to a couple of different of these resorts and look and see what they got. And I mean, you can just about model, what you want to go and buy, and you can go do some shopping around and get some really good deals on the same kit that these hotels have. So that's kind of how I did, started looking around. It was like 8 or 9 years ago. And I said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's their main business. So why would they not have something there you could sleep on?
Exactly.
That's their main business.
Exactly.
And they're good at it.
Exactly. There you go.
But hey, here they need some dedicated nappers. So what I was saying, if they threw in a bottle of Jack and maybe some Netflix, and I was like, it's game on. Game on.
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you.
Nap reviewers. Over the course of 30 days, our dedicated nappers will be required to take part in a variety of experiments, testing out theories such as the best nap duration for feeling refreshed, the effects of napping on overall levels of fatigue, and the effects of napping on memory, motivation, and productivity each night. So see, that's a perfect explanation of that gig right there.
I'm muted. There we go. Yep. No, you're right.
Each night.
Each night.
Applicants must be at least 18 years old.
I fit that bill.
So if anyone wants to get paid to go napping, then you just go in there and type "get paid to take naps," and this will throw you over here to the website. So
that's crazy.
It is crazy, man. It is crazy. Who in the world would have ever thought? Okay. So whenever Google first started coming around, and they started talking about all the different stuff that this Google campus had, and you know what I mean, and the stuff that Apple was doing, and get paid to take naps, and requested, you have to take naps, like a mandated nap time,
right,
bro.
I know.
Mandated nap time.
Living the dream, my man. We don't get those luxuries though.
Well, no naps. But I mean, the greatest part about what we do, Ryan, is it's on our own time. So
that is true.
Ryan, I would like to thank our sponsors, Lit Handlers, and again, everyone get in there and download the app, and we will send you a discount code on the email verification once you register with us. And Ryan, that's all this week. And we will do another one Thursday.
Yep.
If we can, if the creeks don't rise.
That's right.
And maybe no in-house inspections and no moving things and home stuff, and
that's right.
But man, I'm looking forward to it. And that's all for this week, folks. I'm Greg with Rig Links, and that is Ryan with War. Ryan, before we end the show, explain to us about the stuff with the War Room Media and your Substack newsletter, about what's going on with your whole world there with War Room Media.
Well, I gotta go because I gotta hop on another show. So why
don't okay, we'll save that for Thursday. Okay, everybody. Okay. So we'll cover that. And thanks for joining us this week for another edition of Overtime. And that's a wrap.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you Thursday.
All right, bye-bye. You've been watching Overtime, a live series brought to you by Rig Links and War Room Media. Your hosts have been Greg Williams and Ryan Ray. For sponsorship opportunities, send us an email at info@riglinks.com. Tune in next Thursday at 10 a.m. CST for another live episode.